Howdy guys, and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are working on converting a barn house into a barn home. We're actually not converting anything because there was no pre-existing barn house here to begin with, but whatever. Okay, it's so cute. I love the idea of turning a barn house into like an actual livable home. I don't know how actually practical that is, but the ones that I see online are so cute. I see so many different like takes on it. Some keep the rustic, sort of bits about it. Others turn it into like this luxurious thing, and it's just so cool. And I've always wanted to build something like this, but I've always been intimidated and never been able to figure out, how I would go about making it. But after struggling for so long with the shape of this house, I think I finally figured it out, and I am really so happy with how this house, turned out in the end. And we're gonna see here, I'm gonna kind of jump ahead with the floor plan because as you can see, I am looking a little bit confused about how to handle this. I do end up making the house longer so I can have a bit of a nicer landing that isn't so squished, and it helps me a bit figure out, the layout for the house and stuff, upstairs, and trying to figure out where the bathroom is gonna go on the ground floor, Oh my gosh, I had such a time because, with when people convert barns into homes, they end up being very open plan, and I wanted to keep that about it too, They don't have like a gazillion rooms, and sometimes they do keep the loft, but it just did not make it big enough to be able to do that. So yeah, there's no lofted space. Yeah, this is actually the first house I built in a while that doesn't have like a loft, or the landing doesn't look down into the living space or the first floor, it was definitely different. Just a little bit different, this is still kind of technically a farm home that I've kind of been addicted to doing, but don't worry, I have some ideas. I've got some stuff written down, and even though this one didn't come out, how I had wanted it to, I am still so happy with it. I hope you guys love it too. And I just wanted to apologize. The last video that I posted was that family farm home. And if you haven't, seen it, go and check it out. It turns out really cute, but I have to warn you, it's not on the gallery. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it went, but I went to go and upload it, after I had finished recording and already uploaded the video, I already had uploaded it. Yeah, it was not in my library. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure where it went, but it's also like not in my world because I kind of bulldoze houses after I build them. But yeah, I really do apologize. This one though, this one will for sure be up on the gallery because I have saved 3 different copies of it into my library, hoping that I will not make the same mistake that I've made again. I am just so sorry about that. I am so actually sad because I was planning on using it. I was so bummed out. Like, I just sat here for a day and I was like, I can't believe that I did that. But I did not make that same mistake here. No, I did not. But anyways, back to this build. We have figured out the floor plan. We've placed some little placeholder furniture, and now we're just putting in the windows. Oh, can I talk about this door for a second? I can't remember which pack that door comes in, but it's so cute, and the like default swatch that it comes in is so, I guess it's not ugly, but it's just, it doesn't catch my eye, because I don't build homes that I think would suit the swatch that door comes in. So I found the black swatch and I was like, oh my gosh, this door is actually really cute. So I had to use it. I had to use it here. It was just absolutely perfect. I feel like it was what I was looking for, and I was like, oh, this is just too good. This is just way too good. So I kept it. I used it. I did not know that that door came in those swatches, and I was just, oh, it's beautiful. It has a white swatch. It has some I guess plain wooden swatches, just plain brown, and oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. But you can see now we're painting the inside, and this place has changed a lot, at least on the inside, as far as paint goes, because I was going to do a very black and white theme, dark wood floors and light walls, but that ended up changing because I was looking around for inspiration, because I was like, what do I want to go with for the interior? I wanted to do the black and white, but I was like, is that too generic? maybe that's kind of boring. But I ended up going with like these black walls, and I used a the wooden pattern for it because I was like, well, what if they just painted over just the boards, like just the wood that has always been there? What if we just did that, and you know, they like refinished them or something and gave them new life or whatever and just painted over them? So I did that instead, and I think I like this color combination better because I was able to use some of my favorite swatches from some furniture that just fit the space better. I'm gonna talk about this pesky little mirror on this entranceway for a second because it kept disappearing for absolutely no reason. I actually almost saved this and uploaded it without the mirror there, and I'm just like, why did that mirror just keep disappearing? There's absolutely no reason why it should have been disappearing. I was so confused. I had to put it back like 6 times. I was like, dude, where are you going? Why are you leaving me? Stay where you're supposed to be, please. So if it's not there for whatever reason when you download the house, I am sorry. I tried to get him to stay there, but he was just not having it at all. Oh, these sectionals, I love them so much. And don't worry, because we switch around the 2 end pieces, because as you can see right now, it just kind of doesn't look like it flows very nicely. It seems unnecessarily closed off or something. I just don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to explain, I guess. But I hope you guys understand, you know, it just looks weird and not good like this. So we swapped those around. I actually changed the color of the stand that the TV is sitting on right now. I turned it back to that original brown wooden color so it kind of matches the backing more on the sectional, just so it pulls in more of that lighter tone wood, because this place is already so dark. I wanted to bring in more light through lighter wood and stuff. And I know that the sectional is kind of in front of that barn door, but it actually works still. I didn't intend for it to work. I kind of put it there because you see it in like these barn house renovations or whatever, these conversions, they usually take out the barn doors, or they put the barn doors on the outside just to have that look still, but they close it up on the inside, mostly probably due to insulation and stuff. And they're just such big doors, you know, they're barn doors. They're meant to bring animals in and out. Yeah, I didn't intend for them to work, so I was like, oh, it's fine if I put, you know, the couch there. You have several entrances out to the back. Wait until you guys see what I turned that side porch into. It just looks so cool. I'm so happy with that little area. Now, this little reading nook space, you know me and my cozy little reading nooks. I thought this is just the perfect place to put a little reading area right next to the desk. I thought this would look a little bit nicer coming in off the entrance, and that bookshelf actually does work with that little table sitting right there. I tested that because I was like, I want to make sure that works, because, you know, if you're sitting there and you want to like sit there with like your tea or your coffee or your water or whatever else while you read, you're gonna want to have something right there to put your stuff on while you chill and get lost in your tales. Now, I also wanted to fit like a little, I guess, tiny bar in this home, because I feel like the Sims that would live here would probably be mild entertainers, you know, and they would probably like to have a little bar. So actually that's what we turned that side porch into, is like a little adult bar area for your Sims to enjoy and just have fun with. And look, you guys will see it very soon, I think. Or I did cut out a lot of the landscaping and a lot of like the exterior decorating and stuff, so you'll see it in the screenshots, I do believe. But I cut out a lot of the exterior stuff because I was struggling a lot with what I wanted, and I do end up putting this house on a smaller lot in Brindleton Bay because this lot was just too big and overwhelming to work with. And I don't even know why I chose this lot to begin with. I just really liked it. I thought this house would fit the setting just so incredibly well, and it did. But it was just way too big, and I tried to find like a smaller lot in Windenburg. You know, I think this is a 30 by 20 lot it ends up being after I move it, but I just could not find one that I liked that I thought would fit nice in Windenburg, so I just plopped it down in Brindleton Bay because why not? You know, that's like my favorite place to build in, and I'm sorry that all of my houses seem to be going to Brindleton Bay. Y'all are probably like tired, but you can place this house wherever you want. You can even put it on this, I think it's a 30 by 40 lot. lot. It's that long ways lot that's kind of like by the shore, not on the island, but it's like this lonely little lot just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. On the mainland area, I can't remember what it's called. Wait, what is it called? Oh, no, this says Cozy Creekside A-frame. This is not an A-frame, obviously, but this lot, I guess I built an A-frame on it before, and I just never reset the name. So that's a big ol' help now, isn't it? Yeah, I went through a lot of different A-frames, you know, just practicing, trying to figure out how to make A-frames in The Sims, and I'm still really happy with that one A-frame I built. You can go and see it, on my channel if you want. That one is also downloadable. I'm never gonna let myself live down that family farm home and how it just does not exist on the gallery. It just doesn't exist in any place at all. I mean, if there is a way for me to get it back, let me know. Because I would love to be able to get it back and throw it up on the gallery and just have it, you know. I would rebuild it, but it's just not going to be the same as it was originally, and that just makes me so sad. I don't even want to look at it anymore. I don't even want to think about it anymore. Let's just talk about this kitchen. This kitchen is so cute. Okay, I've always liked the idea of having those little portable type island sets, so I did that with this industrial kit. I can't remember what they're called. It's like a standing table, you know, you put stools at it, and you know, maybe I could have put like a couple stools right on the other side of it, so maybe your Sims could sit there if they wanted to. I really wanted to make believe that it was like one of those moving ones, so like pretend that it's on wheels even though it's not. I love that, and I love the colors that it came in were just very rustic, but I also like that it also comes in very finished wood, you know, like newer looking wood and stuff. Oh my gosh, I just love how this kitchen turned out so much. I've always been like, oh, I want a big enormous kitchen. No, I've actually come to find that I prefer, you know, smaller kitchens, so I tend to make them smaller but like with a lot of counter space. Because I do love counter space so much. You know, it's very good to have a lot of counter space. You never know when you're gonna need all of these other counters. Anywho, we have made it to the second floor finally, and I think I cut out a lot of the second floor because I was very indecisive with what I wanted to do. The two rooms to the left of the landing end up being a teen and a kid's room, but they can be easily, you know, swapped out for like a child and a toddler and stuff. You know, I try to keep kids' rooms very easy to change, I guess. And I spent way too long figuring out the rug situation. I do not go with these circle rugs. Even though I like them, I just don't think they complemented the space very well. I do end up going with a kind of a longer rectangular rug. These rugs, I love these rugs so much. I do try to use them whenever I get the chance to, because I love the swatches that they come in. You know, I probably should have flipped the other one around so it just looks less repetitive, but whatever. Here is the master bedroom, which comes out really cute. I do this thing where, because I wanted a walk-in wardrobe and I wanted to use the walk-in wardrobe item from, is it Get Together or is it City Living? Or do they both come in? You know, I don't even know. Just the walk-in wardrobe item. I wanted to use that in here, but there wasn't wall space, and I was like, I am not giving up my windows for a silly walk-in closet. So I end up making that little indent bump out space to the right of the bed here into a kind of makeshift walk-in wardrobe type area. It's not actually a walk-in wardrobe, but it has this little armoire, and it's gonna have a standing mirror and a chair, and I just love how this little spot came out. I think I would love to have something like that, you know, in my own house. I'm not a very fashionable person or anything, but I don't think you should have to be into clothes and fashion to have a nice little dressing area that can help you feel good about your appearance and how you're dressing that day. But we're putting up the curtains on that wall behind the bed, and I cut all that out. It was just such a pain in the butt because I downsized them, but then the little rods were just not lining up, so I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much more frustrating than it has to be. Why am I putting myself through this? But it ended up looking really nice. It looked so good. I didn't want all of the whole entire window to be covered up by these curtains, but that's what ended up happening. And I also cut this part out, putting the curtains up above or in front of this little dressing nook area, because for the same reason reason, it also took me just a while to figure out where it was gonna, I guess, look nice, because I did want it to look like it was hanging from the, oh gosh, what is that wooden beam that you put between the columns? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. But yeah, I just wanted it to be part of that. I wanted it to look like it was hanging from that. But anywho, here we go, working on the kids' rooms. And I had a lot of fun with the teenage bedroom. I gave them the personality of like this creative musical wanderlust type sim, and I give them like a little cork board where they can put postcards and stuff, and I decorate their room with some like, I don't know, I guess some landscape posters from Outdoor Retreat, I think it's from. And this rug was so cute. I liked the peach and the gray and the white colors. It really helped me set the tone for the bedroom and helped me tie in, you know, the colors of the bed and the dresser there. And yeah, I had to take away the one curtain because it was driving me crazy. I don't know what happened or why it decided that the shadow was gonna get all weird on it, but I was like, whatever, you're just gonna go bye-bye, 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 silly little curtain. You are not going to frustrate me any further. I also really like to try and keep bedrooms for like all of the Sims very gender neutral. Because who knows, maybe you're gonna have a boy sim live in here, or a girl sim, or maybe a fellow non-binary sim, or a gender fluid sim, or just any type of sim. And I like to make them as inclusive as possible. Now, you might have also noticed that I have been putting some cat stuff in this house, which is also very different because usually I make my houses more suitable for dog owner sims, but this time I was like, you know what, I'm going to change it up. I am going to make believe that the family that moves into this house has kitty cats. It's just different, you know. It's not like I hate cats. I don't hate cats. They're actually very cute. I'm just more of a dog person personally, but I also love cats. I love all manner of animals, and I try to make houses that can fit cats or dogs, or cats and dogs. I also like to imagine that the person who lives in that other room, that white room, probably is the owner of the cat, or no, because cats claim people. So maybe that cat has claimed this person as their favorite person and they like to sleep with them. So I put the bed in there and a little kitty statue on their dresser. I like to add like little stuff like that. I love to, I don't know, I guess story build as I make these little houses. But here we go, we're working on the kids' room, and I loved the colors in this so much. I wasn't sold on this like bluish green paneling and stuff, but I don't know, it worked really well, I think, with the bed I ended up choosing. I really liked it. This room is so cool. Whatever kid has this room is so insanely lucky. Like, it's such a cool little room. It's got a lot of personality and stuff to look at. I think any kid would absolutely fall in love with such a room and absolutely adore it. We make sure there's like a little reading nook for them. There's like a little dressing area. I put in this cute little cloud light too because that was so cute. I never used that. Actually, I think that this is the very first time I have used that cloud light ever since owning The Sims. It's just so adorable. I like how warm it makes the room feel. Whatever child sim is gonna end up in that room is going to have an insane imagination. And now we have moved on to the outside. We're doing a little bit of landscaping. I don't include all of it, I don't think, because, you know, as I said, I was so incredibly overwhelmed with the amount of space that I had on this lot, so I moved it to a new lot, and it was still a lot bigger than I think I needed, but it was the only lot that kind of fit the house the way that I wanted it to fit. So yeah, we don't show all of it, I don't think. I think we fill in like the planter boxes, and I do like kind of the front yard area. Oh, here's that little bar area. Oh, it turned out so cool. Like, you guys just wait until you get to see it all lit up, because I do show it like as I'm trying to see if like all the lights are all right and they're not overwhelming, but I do put up like these little string lights and stuff all up in front of the door, and I just can't believe that the door actually functions, so you can just go straight out here instead of going around through the back door. But it turns out so cute. I love how this came out. You know, I just want to have some Sims bring their friends over, bring their co-workers over, their neighbors, and have just like a little sit down at that bar area, you know. I put those little trees in, and it provides some sort of privacy and stuff. And here we go, just filling in those little planter box things I put out at the front. They are so cute. I really love how this this house came out. The landscaping it's a lot of landscaping, like you guys will see in the pictures, you know, that it's kind of a lot, but I think it's very fitting for the type of home that it is. Now we're just kind of working on the front entrance area, and I really like how it comes out because when we get to it, you guys will see that instead of using fences, I used half walls and I used a stone wallpaper to make it look like a stone wall instead. And then I used the half wall trim, I guess, that has like a fence border on the top of it, and I thought it gave this really cool farmhouse vibe. But anyways, we are into the screenshots now, and I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair and I'm just gonna leave you guys with these. Anyways, you guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this barn house turn into a barn home. If you would like to download it off the gallery, my gallery ID is in the description down below. Go and get it. I'm gonna go and get prepared for my holiday. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday yourselves and a happy new year, and I will see you in the next one.